All right. So I guess you guys can hear me good. All right, so good guys. So thank you guys for jumping on. We're gonna go through this slideshow again, of course. And when we finish up here, I'll be talking about what we're gonna be going over next week. We're gonna be changing topics next week. This is the last installment for this training here. I'll introduce you guys to a couple of books as well. For those that have, if you get kicked out or anything and you can't get back on anything like that, remember, we are on YouTube live at the same time, so you can always go there and comment as well. So again, appreciate you all for being here. Let me pull this slideshow up real quickly so we can get everybody up to speed. Let's see what we got here. So thank you guys for all of the testimonials. I'm still waiting for some of you guys to send me a testimonial. Whenever you get it to me, that'll be great. If you can send your picture along with it, that'll be great. I will be having my web people rotate my testimonials pretty often. So you see here, I've got my good friend Bob Frazier, Miss Jody, Miss Nancy Wolf, Melissa, got all of them up there on our testimonial page on the website. And we will be rotating those as we get more going in and out and getting you up on the website as well. So appreciate you guys for the testimonials. And we'll be getting a lot of traffic to that site. We'll be adding some teachable stuff there, some online courses and things like that as well coming up here in the next 30 to 60 days. So that was just thanking you guys for that. Remember to get plugged in with us on LinkedIn as well. So just go to LinkedIn, and if you give me a referral on LinkedIn, I will give you a referral back. I'll refer you for whatever it is you do, whether it's network marketing, whether you're a realtor, whether you're a fitness trainer, whether you just got a 9-to-5 and you're just good at what you do. We also Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and of course we're on YouTube. So subscribe on YouTube, and anytime we drop a video, upload a video, I should say, you will get notified of that, and that happens at least twice a week. You should have gotten, if you're on the email blast, you should have gotten 2 trainings between this week and last week. You should have gotten 2 separate trainings, which would have been part 1 and part 2 of this series here. And then you'll be getting part 3 and part 4 before next week's training. So you'll get 2 more this week as well. Getting through that edited a little bit faster now. And remember to text Mindset to 904-932-0622 if you want notifications on our trainings. So again, I'm gonna breeze through not as many slides as I did last week because I've got those other trainings up now. So you can really go back, you can go and look at those trainings yourself at your own speed at this point. So I don't have to really go through them too detailed. But on this week's training, we're gonna be talking about creating value for your team, leading versus manipulation, positional leadership, and we're going to talk about leading by example as well. So these are all things we're going to touch on today on this training. Again, we covered the definition for value and the definition for worth in our previous training. So if you missed those, please go back and take a look at them. They are on the YouTube page already. We went into those in detail. We also talked about calculating your value and your worth, and we talked about even doing that in the specific industries. So if you're interested in hearing that information, you can certainly go and look at part 1 and part 2 of this training. We also did some training on empty dreaming and just talking about the fact that sometimes life gets in the way, or like my bestie Sharanda says, life happens, and sometimes we let go of our dreams. So we did a little bit of exercise, and I'm talking about how to get your dreams back in place with Empty Dreamer. We also talked about attracting wealth, talking about a time economy and a value economy, even when you have a 9-to-5, whether or not if you go to work, if you just show up to work, will they pay you anyway? We talked about value, attracting wealth. We also talked about a story about Steve Harvey's barber and how he created value for himself, and now he has several shops, several schools, just from cutting Steve Harvey's hair at $10 a haircut originally before he created so much value for himself. So we talked about increasing value and confidence as well in those other parts, between those first 3 sessions that we went over. And now we're going to be talking about what is your team worth? Leading to create value. We're going to talk about leading to create value, because we know that whether you've got an employee base, whether you work at a job and you're a supervisor and you've got people that you're leading in that space, whether you have a business where you're leading, whether you're a network marketer and you're leading a team, we all need to know how to lead to create value, because we can't be the only valuable person in that scenario as it comes to us building a business. So let's read a quick quote. Creating value for humanity should not be an afterthought, but a core business strategy. So we're going to get into a little bit of material here. So are you manipulating or leading? Are you manipulating or leading? So let's look at what that means. Manipulating and leading are close relatives. Let's define and see why. So manipulation, I do all the talking. Everything I suggest that you do benefits you and benefits me. That's manipulation. So let's talk about that a little bit before we move to the next slide. I do all the talking. Everything I suggest that you do benefits you and me. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop this slide real quick. All right, so let's talk about a couple of different industries as it comes to this. So manipulating versus leading, we want to make sure we understand really the difference there, because sometimes we do it intentionally and sometimes we really don't know the difference. So when you're working with people, first of all, you should be listening, not just giving them a system. So let's go to network marketing first, because I spend most of my time in network marketing. And then we'll go to a couple other industries as well. Well, in network marketing, we've got a system in most companies. The company I'm in, there's a system there as well. And we bring people into a business on the recruiting side of things. And normally we set them up to start recruiting, start a list, go to a training and get things going. And sometimes what we'll do is we won't ever ask that person what they're looking to do. So particularly in the company I'm in, Legal Shield, there's different areas of Legal Shield. You got Ladies of Justice, you've got a business solution side, which is B2B marketing plans and a business solution side of things. You also have the network marketing side. So you've got different areas in this particular network marketing company where some companies don't. So this is a good example, because a person may come in and want to do business solutions, and you may be a networker and think you're just gonna push them to networking. So manipulation in that sense would be the person coming in. So I'm talking to Felicia, she comes into the business, she joins my team. Miss Felicia, I don't ever ask you what you're looking to do. I don't ever ask you how much money you're looking to make. All I do is plug you into the recruiting system, because I'm saying to myself, hey, look, if I can get her to fast start qualifying 20 days, then I can get a matching bonus. If I can get her to get to the manager level, I can get a matching bonus. Now what I'm doing is I'm basically manipulating that situation so that I can get matching bonuses. And I'm never even asking you what you're looking to do as you come into the business. And that's not really leading. Now we think we're leading because we're pushing people up the ladder. They're getting paid, we're getting paid. And we're thinking in our mind, we're leading a team. But what we don't understand is if that person really wasn't looking to go in that direction, eventually they're going to stop working, because they don't want to be in network marketing. They may have wanted to do business solutions, but you never introduced it to them. You never sent them to what we call level 1 training so that they can figure out their minor and their major. So that would be an example of where we sometimes think we're leading, but we're actually manipulating, because what we're doing benefits that person and us, and that's it. And how many times do you look into your organization to figure out who you can call so that they can make a sale, so that you can benefit, so that you can get to the next level, so that you can get an override to pay a bill or whatever you may have going on? And when you're thinking that way, you can have some success, but you'll put a ceiling on it. You'll limit your success simply because you're not running your team the way you should be. You should be leading people into their dreams. You should be helping, you should be benefiting in an override sense. You should be benefiting in a wealth sense by helping people, guiding people to their dreams, right? So I remember when I was in, I believe it was in Philadelphia, maybe 6-8 months ago, and I was doing a training and I was telling people, sometimes we even do that in our own home. So we said we wanted to go to college to become a veterinarian, and we never could do that. Either our parents couldn't afford it, or our parents didn't know how to get us in that place, or our grades weren't high enough, or whatever the case may be. Now we've got our own children, and we got our own children. We're trying to push them in the direction that we never went in, because we want them to be a veterinarian, because we was never a veterinarian. So now, instead of being a leader, a man or a woman leading your household, helping your children reach their goals and dreams, you're trying to live vicariously through them because you didn't do things that you were supposed to do. Right? The man in the house that wants their son to be the football star because they couldn't play football. So your side behind couldn't play football good, so now you're going to force your son to be a football player. So it's really all even in that same sense when it comes to family. We're talking about family or business. Are you manipulating as opposed to leading? And sometimes we really just don't know the difference. So what's that question there? Which number was the lecture on monitoring income daily? I don't even know. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure which one that was, but I believe it was not even this series though. That was the last series on training your brain. So those videos are up on YouTube though, but I do not know which one that was, but good question though. So just giving you that example of manipulation because I want you guys to kind of see that. So I'm gonna pull the slideshow back up real quickly and move to the next one just so you guys can see. Oh, wait a minute, before I do that, let me back up. Let me back up before I do that. So let me talk about a couple of other industries first. So fitness trainer. So I'm a fitness trainer and I'm working with Rosie Okafor, and I'm not sitting down with that client. And I'm not sitting down with Rosie and saying, Rosie, what do you weigh? What do you want to weigh? What are you working on? If you're trying to lose weight, where you're trying to lose weight at? When are you trying to lose weight by? Are you interested in diets, or are you not? Do you not do diets? Are you interested in intermittent fasting, or not interested in intermittent fasting? What are you allergic to? You follow what I'm saying? Do you like smoothies? Do you not like smoothies? Is it difficult for you to not eat for 2 or 3 hours after you wake up, or is it okay for you to do that? Because I need to create a plan for Rosie, but I also have to ask Rosie what her goals are, because if I don't, I'm basically manipulating that situation, and I'm doing whatever it is I want to do. Even if it helps her, it still wasn't what she wanted to do. And part of leading is really pulling out of Rosie, pulling out of Felicia, pulling out of Bob what's in them so that they can reach their goals, not me putting into you what I think you should do. Does that make sense? So whether it's the fitness training industry, whether I'm a realtor, guys, you know, even with realtors, right? Like you want to sell this, that realtor wants to sell that house because it's a bigger commission. So I'm gonna put you in a house that costs $300,000 instead of putting you in a house that costs $250,000 because I want to make a higher commission, even though the other house not only costs less, but is in a better neighborhood and maybe better suited for your lifestyle. But I'm saying it doesn't matter what you want, right? Car dealerships do the same thing. You got car salesmen that put you in a car that they want to sell, as opposed to the car that fits your budget or the car that fits your family lifestyle. So it doesn't matter how you put it, what industry you go to. People will manipulate and they will call themselves being a leader because they're the top salesperson, or they're the top recruiter, or they've got more clients than you do in that industry. And being aggressive and being a bully may work for a certain amount of time, but it won't work in the long term. And I promise you, you probably won't be getting referrals from them. So if you're not getting referrals from your clients in any industry that you're in, chances are it's because the person that you're working with don't want to introduce you to their friends. Does that make sense? So either you're not asking for referrals, or they're saying, you know what, I'm not going to let you do to my friend what you did to me. So they may not be comfortable with you in that instance. So let me pull up a couple of other slides so we can see some more things of what I'm talking about here. So let's look at leadership and what that means. What does leadership mean? Leading, persuasion. So let's take a look at that. You start with the team member employee, right? You listen to what they need and want so that your future advice benefits everyone involved. Everyone involved. So let's go back to network marketing, right? So in a sense of a network marketer, guess what? There's a whole team involved. You know what? Let me take my personal situation. So one thing you'll learn about stories, what I love about stories, is that stories take all the opinion out of things and it leaves just the facts. So when you tell stories, what happens is the message gets across because it's not about my opinion, it's about something that actually happened. So in network marketing, most people are part of a team. So I'm part of a team in network marketing, which is Team New Vision. Most of you guys know that if you know me, because even all my advertising, I put Team New Vision on it because that's a family for me. TNV is a family for me. It's not just about a business network marketing thing. I look at Mike Humes, which is one of my mentors, as my dad. I look at Darnell Self as my grandfather, not because of age, but because of their levels of education and mentorship for me personally. And I can call them about things that have nothing to do with business and they will help me out. So I look at TNV as a family and I'm loyal to that organization. And when in that organization, when I'm doing things, I have to do things that's best for that organization. So even something as small as an interview. So I did an interview a couple of weeks ago and somebody called me from that organization, from Team New Vision, and said, hey man, you did a really good job on that interview. He said, you really made Team New Vision look good. And I said, look, when I go do anything, even if it has nothing to do with business, I'm saying to myself when I'm doing it, how does this reflect on Team New Vision? How does this reflect on my mother? Because it may be something public, right? How does this reflect on my sisters? How does this reflect on my children? Because I'm always concerned about everybody involved. And that's what leaders do. Leaders aren't ever concerned about, hey, how do I benefit from this? But how does everybody involved benefit from this? So when you go and do something publicly, are you concerned about how your parents, how your kids, how is this going to reflect when somebody says, I saw this person doing something and this is your father, this is your mother, this is your brother, this is your sister, this is your son, this is your daughter, this is your coworker, this is your boss, this is your employee. This is the company that you work with. So you have to ask yourself that question. So when I'm working with people on my team, my question is, when I have them do something, how does it benefit them first and foremost? How does it benefit me? How does it benefit Team New Vision? How does it benefit Legal Shield? That's what I'm asking myself that's what I have to walk myself through in my head. And I have to do that because I have to always be concerned as a leader with everybody involved. That's part of leadership. And you will see when we come up on the last slides, we're going to talk about servant leadership. And that's exactly why. People think when their organization gets bigger, people think when their audience gets bigger, people think when their customer base gets bigger, it's like, well, now I can get served. No, you just have a bigger crowd to serve. That's all that means. That's all it means. So in a leadership position, if you don't want to serve, being a leader is not where you should be. Because being a leader means that you're serving. That's exactly what that means. So if you guys agree with that, put yes or yes in the chat. Let me know you hear me so I don't feel like I'm preaching to nobody. I'm going to preach anyway, even if I don't think I'm preaching to nobody. I am going to preach anyway. So just letting you know, guys, the difference between manipulation and leading. Make sure you get it straight. Make sure you understand without a doubt so that you aren't leading your team. If you're working with employees, you're not leading your employees. You're not leading. If you're managing or supervising at your job, make sure you understand. So position is a great place to visit, but you wouldn't want to live there. So what I mean by that is positional leadership, because most of the time, positional leadership is where you start, but then you end up in a different leadership position, but there's some pros and cons to that. And we're not going to cover the pros and cons of positional leadership today, because I'm going to do a whole separate training on those different things, on the different levels of leadership that John C. Maxwell books talks about, things of that nature. So positional leaders in your industry. So in a real estate industry, a positional leadership could be that team leader or that office manager. In the fitness training area, it could be the head trainer. So I work at LA Fitness. I'm a personal trainer. There's a head personal trainer that's over everything. When it comes to the trainers, that person that could be a positional leadership situation. In network marketing, it could be the regional leaders in your area, right? I used to be a regional manager for the network marketing company I'm in. They've got network vice presidents. They've got regional leaders. They've got certification trainers. I'm a certification trainer in Legal Shield, right? And then you also have team support that understand in the network marketing space, right? Number 3, because I found a network marketing company before Malachi did, doesn't mean that I'm sharper than he is. Now, on paper, I may be his team support, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a better leader than he is, just because I found the company first. So understand, even when it comes to network marketing, because somebody's your team support doesn't mean that they're a leader. Sometimes that could be a positional deal. They happen to be over you. Particularly when you see in parentheses, it says, when you have been placed. Does that make sense? So you've been in the business 6 years, and a person that is over you in Legal Shield or network marketing or wherever you're at places somebody on your team. Until you earn their respect, until they respect you as a leader, that's positional leadership. That's just a title. You're their upline per title. Until you get to level 2, level 3, level 4, and level 5, right? Until they see you leading by example, which is going to be, right, my next example, leading by example, until they see that you're helping them, they're not going to respect you as their leader. And in the 9 to 5 space, the job space, corporate leadership, supervisors, floor managers, those could be positional leaders. Now, you see what it says on the bottom? No, the titles above are positional, but that doesn't mean they can't actually be real leaders. Your supervisor at your job could actually be a great leader, even though they're in that position, right? Your upline team support could actually be a great leader. The person that's over you at LA Fitness or Goldie's Gym or wherever you work at could actually be a really great leader as a head trainer, but they could be a poor one too. And the same thing at that real estate office. You guys have all had a job where the person that's over everybody is just related to the owner. Not really a leader, but positionally they're in place because they know somebody. So understand that positional leadership really means that you're in a position of leadership, but that doesn't necessarily make you a leader. And when you're leading a team, because you have a team, don't call yourself a leader. John C. Maxwell says it best. If you turn around and nobody's following you, you're not leading. Follow? All right, so let's look at the difference between that and leading by example. So leading by example, right? So in your industry, if you're a real estate agent, right? Leading by example is who's closing the best deals, who's remaining current, who's the top producer. That's leading by example. That's leading by example. In the fitness training industry, leading by example. That trainer's in great shape and gives the best clients experience. So for those that go to the gym or that know anything about going to a gym, one of the interesting things to me about being at the gym sometimes is when I watch somebody being trained by somebody that's not in shape. Because that person went to school and got a certification to be a personal trainer, which is really book work. When you take a test to become a personal trainer, the only physical thing you have to do is take CPR class. So you could literally be out of shape and be a personal trainer. And it's always interesting to me when I go to the gym and I see somebody paying $270 a month to have somebody out of shape get them in shape. It's interesting. Now it happens. It's no judgment on a person. It's just interesting, right? That you decided to allow somebody to get you in shape at $270 and they're not even in shape. Now, could they get you in shape? If you follow their advice because they learned how to do it out of a book, you could actually get in shape following their example. It's just something the way my brain works, right? I'm a practitioner. And if you're going to get me in shape, when I'm meeting with you once a week, I'm going to need to see that you're in shape. I'm going to need you to not be having me on the machine while you eating a Twinkie. I'm going to need that to happen, if that makes sense, right? So if I'm telling you I want a six-pack, and you got a keg and you're trying to help me get a six-pack, I'm thinking to myself, now, why are you not working out with me so you can get a six-pack? Does that make sense? So even in that space, guys, leading by example is a way that you can become a leader without actually being in a leadership position. So when I took over as the regional manager in Florida years ago, I'm not one now, but at that time when I took over that position, they gave me that position because I was already leading from no position. I was already helping people in that marketplace without a title. And see, the best thing you can ever do is have the skill set and the servant leadership mindset before you get the title. Leading by example, right? So in that network marketing space, they do what they train. They show up to support when possible. They continue to do what their title or position suggests. So if a person is a $100,000 ring earner and they've been a $100,000 ring earner for 6 years and they're no longer making $100,000, they're not leading by example. The title doesn't lead, but has the income left. Does that make sense? When it comes to sending somebody to a training in a climate that's not COVID-19 like now, if I'm in Florida and I've got a team in Florida and I'm sending them to an event to get trained, I should be there too. I shouldn't be sending them and saying, I took that training before. Leadership is, I'm gonna take it with you to make sure that you understand it, because guess what can happen if you don't? So I have a training going on, right? Well, no, somebody else has a training going on. And I say, you know what? Ann Patterson, you should be at that training. Brenda Floyd, you should be at that training. Clarence Gall, you should be at that training. Daryl Stanley, you should be at that training. And all of you all go to that training and I don't show up. Now you sit next to somebody who has issues with the company, has issues with the product, is a negative person, and now they're turning you off because I'm not there to protect you. You guys are all new. You don't know anything yet. This is your first training and you're sitting in there with somebody that's bad mouthing the company. I'm not there to shield you from that because I sent you to a training that I've already been to, and as a supposed to be leader, I'm saying to myself, I don't need to go there again, so I'm not going to go. I'm just going to send you off. That's what makes that a bad leadership move. On your 9 to 5, same thing. The leader gets in the trenches with the employee and they support. They don't sit in an office with the door shut and leave directions on your desk when you come to work. They don't send you emails all day telling you what you should be doing and they're not doing it. Now that may be your circumstance, but that's a good example of positional leadership. When you're leading your team to create value, you get in the trenches with them. When you're leading your team to create value, you show up to the trainings that you send them to. When you're leading the team to create value, you're in shape and you're showing your clients how to get their body the way that they want it. And you're showing them proof of your body, like, I did this and here's my before picture, here's my after picture. What I did for me, I can do for you. Leading by example is that real estate agent that runs the office that's still out there being a top producer, that's remaining current because they're taking continuing education classes and they're closing the best deals. Well, look at the note on the bottom. The examples above are leading by example, but that doesn't mean that these individuals will be considered good leaders, because there's top producers that don't know how to train. There's people who can do the thing very good, but they don't know how to teach and don't know how to lead. So I need you guys to always know that as well. You can have a great person who's in a position to lead, and they could be a bad leader, but they're in a position to lead. And then you've got people who know how to do the thing. They can lead by example, but they can't get other people to do things. Right? I've been an executive director for X amount of years, but I can't create any executive directors because I don't really know how to teach people to do what I do. So you're leading by example, but you're still not a good leader yourself. So get personally developed with John C. Maxwell. So here's a book for you to take a look at, The 5 Levels of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. If you have not read that book, you should pick it up. It's an excellent read. I've been reading that book now probably since about 2000 and I want to say 2010. I've been reading that book. Yeah, about since then. Excellent, excellent, excellent book. 5 Levels of Leadership. It will give you a totally different idea of how leadership works. I've been reading that book for years. I'm reading it now again. 5 Levels of Leadership. Excellent read. So you want to pick that book up by John C. Maxwell. So let's talk about a different arena here as it comes to being able to work with people and lead some people, create value for people. So inexperienced leaders are quick to lead before knowing anything about the people they intend to lead. Mature leaders listen, learn, and then lead. Because like we talked about a little while ago, I cannot lead you if I don't know where you want to go. And if I'm taking you somewhere without talking to you, then I'm manipulating you. I'm not leading you. Yes or yes? Guys agree with that? Go in that chat box and let us know that you agree with us. So let's talk about not adding value to your team first, right? Threatening and or intimidating your team and or your employees in order to make them feel small so they don't rise up or challenge the system, because that creates bad morale. So you got some leaders, they just try to tough talk you. Some leaders that tell you or else. They try to lead through fear, through intimidation. The supervisor that really doesn't know how to lead, that threatens to get you fired because you're not doing what they said. So you're working at a job, right? And let's take Barbara Smith. She's working for a company, and as she works for that company, she goes to the supervisor and says, "Hey, Bob, question for you. I saw these directions on my desk when I came in to do this, and I'm really not sure why do I need to do this? I need to understand what I'm doing, because that's just the way my brain works. I need to know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it." And Bob says, "Barbara, look, that's what you got. That's what came down the pipeline. That's what you need to do. Just go ahead and take care of it. That's what we pay you for." And Barbara says, "Okay, I understand that. I'm not being disrespectful. I just like to know what I'm doing. Can you explain to me why?" "No, I can't explain to you why you got to do it. Just do what I told you to do. If you're not, then you can find somewhere else to work at." Threatening, intimidating. So see, what I learned a long time ago with leadership is that people are more apt to do what you ask them to do when you can explain to them why they're doing it. Because they do it with a different heart. Does that make sense? So let's take that same scenario again. So Barbara Smith goes to Bob and says, "Hey, I see these directions on my desk." And Bob says, yeah, we had a meeting this morning. And at that meeting we had this morning, they specifically wanted this stuff to get done. And Barbara says, "Well, I don't really understand what it is I'm doing. Could you explain to me what it is?" And Bob says, "You know what? I'm really not sure. Let me go to my boss and find out, and I'll come back." Now, Bob goes to his boss. He comes back, and he says, "Barbara, so I just spoke to my boss, and this is what we're doing. We're about to change our software. We're about to do so we're closing all these things out because we're going to go into a new software, and we're going to get a training on that in a couple of weeks. But right now, they want us closing everything up for that reason. Is that good?" Barbara says, "Yes." Barbara goes and does a good job. What did Bob do? All Bob did was allow Barbara to understand what she was doing so that she could do it better, because she knows why she's doing it. And it's not in the back of her mind why she's operating something that she doesn't really understand what she's doing. Happens the same way in network marketing. Happens the same way in fitness training. Happens the same way in real estate, right? I know realtors that will threaten, right? I mean, not necessarily threaten in that way, but let me use the word intimidate a client into thinking that they need to get this deal done now because the window is closing and the financing is going to go away. And really, that's not even the case. But they want that deal to close now because they want their money now, and that client may still be speculating on whether they want that property. Just not a good idea of leadership, right? So you always want to be able to add value. So let's look at a couple of examples here. Of adding value in the workplace. So adding value in the workplace, finding your strengths, finding your weaknesses, your passion, and or your purpose. And you're going to see what these three ideas I have here, the reason why I have these 3 bullet points for adding value in the workplace is because I want you to be able to transition into being a self-employed individual or business owner. And see, you can take these same 3 skill sets on adding value in the workplace and use them to add value as a self-employed person or a business owner. So finding your strengths, finding your weaknesses, finding your passion, and finding your purpose, and make sure that you're working in that space. That's how you add value to your workplace. Because if you're doing something that you don't want to be doing, if you're doing something that you don't feel like you're passionate about or you're purposeful, you're not going to want to be there doing it for a very long time. Sometimes doing it just for the check, that passion runs out, right? You also want to memorize your employer's mission statement, priorities, and future goals if you want to add value to that workplace. So you want to be able to do what's in the best interest of said goals and priorities of that company. So the company that you're working for, you should understand their mission statement. You should understand the priorities and the future goals of that company. Why? How do you transition that over? Because when you start a company, you're going to have a mission statement. You should, even if you don't have it on your wall, you should have a mission statement. You should know why you're operating your business. The people that I train and coach, the idea is for me to get them to change their mindset first. That's what my mission is. That's my mission statement, is to get them to transform their mind first. Because I know if I can get them to transform their mindset, then everything else will fall in place. I don't need to get you to save money first. I need you to get you to change your mind to be a money saver, because getting you to save money when you're a money saver is easy. I've got to get you to want to save money first, right? So memorizing your employer's mission statement, because at one point you're going to have your own mission statement. And then taking continued educational courses and specific training courses that will assist growing and building the department that you belong to. Why? Because you want to add value to your workplace, but then when you become self-employed, when you become a business owner, you want to still already be in the mindset of continued educational courses and getting specific training courses so that you can grow your business, so that you can stay current, stay real time with what you're doing. So you're going to be able to add that value in the workplace, but be able to transition those skills over into the other arenas. So let's look at those other arenas. Oh, real quickly, another book for you guys. I'll throw this in between because for the people who still have a 9-to-5, they're still trying to, get through that whole deal, that era in their life. They're saying, hey, I got a 9-to-5 and I want to get self-employed. Get Personally Developed by John C. Maxwell. So here's a book for you as well. How to Lead When Your Boss Can't or Won't. How to Lead When Your Boss Can't or Won't. So because the person that's your supervisor, your manager, your boss isn't a leader, doesn't mean you can't learn how to be one. So if you can't learn from them, then you should be able to learn by picking up a book. John C. Maxwell is the foremost #1 author in leadership, in my opinion. So he's got leadership books for every kind of circumstance. So not adding value to your team. Here we go, right? Not believing in your team and your employees. Not believing in them. So whether it's your employees, whether it's you're a supervisor at a company and you got a floor that you manage, whether you're in network marketing, whether you're a fitness trainer and you own a fitness training company and you've got fitness trainers that work through that company, whether you're a realtor that runs a real estate office and you've got other realtors. You've got to believe in your team. You cannot not believe in those people, because if you don't believe in them, they can tell by the way you're dealing with them. So assuming your team or employees can't when they can. So that's why a long time ago we talked about your mindset. Because see, if you're insecure, if you've got a negative mindset, then guess what? You're not going to project onto somebody else that you think that they can do things if you don't think you can do things. So it starts with you. So John C. Maxwell will say in a lot of his trainings, when somebody walks up to him and say, hey, look, how can I become a better leader? I've got a team of people that I lead. I've got employees that I lead. I'm a leader of my household. How can I be? What's the first thing I need to do to become a great leader? And he says is you need to learn how to lead yourself. You gotta learn how to lead yourself. So assuming that your team or your employees won't, when they will, that's not adding value to your team. Highlighting your team or employees' issues and challenges as opposed to highlighting their positive attributes. So you're constantly talking to your people about the problems that they have, the things that they do wrong, but you're never complimenting them on the things that they do right. So I learned something from one of my mentors. I mentioned his name earlier, a gentleman named John Self. I learned from him when it came to dealing with people or coming to people about a situation, that you always put them in a sandwich. And you sandwich them with good news, then bad news, and then good news. So what do I mean by that? So let's take, anybody from the list. Let's take Jesse Reed. And I've got a challenge with something that I'm having with. So she's a fitness trainer. I have a fitness training company, and one of the clients there have called me or texted me and says, "Look, I'm working with Jesse Reed," and I'm like, she's killing me out there. Like, I'm in a lot of pain, and I told her that I have an issue with my leg, and she still got me doing squats and lunges, and like she got me doing them on an extreme level, and it's really hurt my leg because I've had an injury to my leg before. So I really shouldn't be doing squats and lunges and leg presses that extreme. And I have to go to Jesse with this conversation because the client and my personal training company has come to me with this issue. So what do? I go to Jesse and I say, good news, bad news, good news. So remember, when you go into your team, when you go into your employees, when you're doing any of those different things, you always want to make sure good news, bad news, good news. Start with a compliment, give them the deal, what you're there for, be transparent, and then let them know how good of a job that they've been doing, and then wish them well on the way out the door to go deal with this circumstance. Make sense? Everybody say yes or yes if it makes sense in there, right? So I call Jesse into my office. Jesse comes in and she sits down. And I say, hey, Jesse, look, just want to talk to you. Just need about 5 or 10 minutes of your time. First of all, doing a great job. And I appreciate, you're here on time every day. You're always here before your clients get here. You give your clients a good experience. Glad you came on board, and that you branded yourself really well. And we really like that around here. And we like that you give the customers a good customer experience. The reason why I brought you in the office is because we do have one client that's had a medical injury at one time, and that's one of the clients that you're working with. And Jesse says, oh, okay, so which client? Because she may not remember. And I say, oh, it's Joanne, and she's had some issues with her leg. You've been working with her, and I know you're really passionate about making sure that people get really good results. And that's why I'm glad that you're here, because you're in a situation where you can make sure our clients leave here with gains. They feel like they spent 6 months in this gym and that they look better. So we really appreciate you doing that. I just want you to keep in mind, Miss Joanne, she had an injury to her leg before. So when you're doing leg day with her, you might want to be a little bit light on leg day with her, because if not, you may re-injure that leg, and I would hate for that to happen, because if that happens, then she may try to sue or anything like that. Anything happens, so we don't want that to happen. And I know I saw her the other day, and she kind of seemed like she had a little limp. So I asked her what was going on, and she told me that she had been working with you, and you had been doing a lot of leg stuff, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention so you don't have to work her so hard, right? So what am I doing? I'm not putting it on Joanne, but I'm letting her know that she needs to slow down on working with her. So then I close out by saying, so look, outside of that, look, you've been doing a fantastic job. I really love that you're here. If you need anything from us, let us know. If you have any issues with any clients, let us know. If we're here to make sure you're good as an employee. So go ahead and have at it, but just know when you're working with Joanne, just take a little bit light on her leg. And then Jesse leaves. So I told her some good news, complimented her about a good job she's doing there. Then I gave her the dirt, right? Didn't even give her that in a nasty manner. And then I went and I closed out by letting her know that we appreciate her being there. Now she's not working with that client and feeling like she's been told on. She's not working with that client with an attitude. She's not upset with me as the person who owns the gym. That's how you have to work with your people. And it's the same way in network marketing, guys. right? So if you got a team, you can't be hollering at your team. You don't know how many times I've had people on my team call me and be like, Mr. Dunbar, look, I can't work with so-and-so no more. And I say, wow, what's going on? They talking to me like a kid. Like I came to network marketing because I wanted to work for myself. And here it is, I'm being told what to do by this guy or this young lady. And then I have to pick up the phone and call this person and say, hey, Clarence, look, I'm just giving you a call. One, great team growth. I'm looking at your numbers. Your team is building. Your people are getting on the calls. I've looked at how many people are registered for the next event, and I see you got a lot of people on your team registered for the next event. So a way to kind of, be working with them and keeping that close-knit family. Just do me a favor. I've gotten a couple of phone calls from some people on the team, and they like working with you, but they feel like you kind of put a little bit of pressure on them. And I know that you really mean well, because really what you're doing, you're just passionate about what you do. And you want them to do the system. And you know that if they do the system, that they're going to be successful. So when people go outside the system, it really kind of frustrates you because you know that they're hurting their own income. And I know you're really passionate about these people really getting to the next income level, the next pin level in this company. So I know why you're passionate about it. But just keep in mind, some of these people that join this company, they're really trying to get away from their boss, their job. They really only join a company like this because they're tired of being told what to do. So just keep that in mind as you work with these people, that find a way to talk to them and let them know without making them feel like you're being demanding. Like, don't talk to them like you're their boss. Because, like, you remember when you was working for ABC company? Oh, yeah. Remember when you had conversations with me about how your supervisors talk to you? Like, don't be that guy. Like, don't be the person that somebody's going home and talking to their spouse about they don't like because you're putting too much pressure on them. Like, I would hate for that to be your reputation, because you're building a strong team. And I want you to be able to do all the things you said when you talked to me about your wife: travel the country, work with your, be around your grandkids, all the different things that you said you want in your future. I want you to have those things. And I know that if you working with people in a manner that they don't like, you won't be able to have those things. So outside of that, man, you're doing a fantastic job. And at the next event, I'm looking forward to seeing you. We're going to have a team meeting there. We'll have lunch together, spend some time together, and we're going to do some awards for the team. And I'll definitely want to congratulate you for having some great team growth. So if you need something from me, give me a call. Let me know. I get off the phone with the person. What did I do? Same thing, guys. Told them some good news, complimented them, told them the issue was going on, and then complimented them again before I hung up the phone. It just works. So just keep in mind when you're doing those kind of things, when you're working with people, that you want to give them good news, bad news, then the good news, and make sure that you can work on that capacity. Yes? All right, good. Hope that's helpful. So let's look at the next bullet point. Considering your team employees to be liabilities instead of assets. And that goes back to just, when you're working with people, whether it's you're employing them, whether they're on your team and you guys all have a 9-to-5 and you're supervising them, like, don't look at the people that you're working with, that you're leading. Don't look at them like an item, like a widget, if I can say that, right? Don't look at them like they're expendable, even if they are. Don't look at them like that, even if they are. So you got a 9-to-5 and you're supervising some people in that arena. That person may be expendable, but treat that person like an asset, because a lot of times if you treat a person like an asset, they will act like an asset. Right? I tell like I got like men friend of mine that we talk, and it's like, we have these conversations about women, and it's like, there's a certain kind of woman that you can treat right and she's not gonna do right anyway. But most women, if you treat her like a queen, she'll act like a queen. If you treat your daughter like a princess, she'll act like a princess, and she won't let a guy treat her any way other than that. So a lot of times women aren't going to let a guy do anything to them inappropriate if their father raised them a certain way. Because they like, my dad already showed me how a man's supposed to treat me. So I'm not going to let nobody treat me any way different, because that's not what they're used to. So that's why it's so important with men to be in their daughter's lives. Not that they should be in their father's life, but you guys follow me, being in their daughter's life, because you're complaining about your daughter being on a pole. You're complaining about your daughter having this creep of a boyfriend. It's like, my question to you is, how did you deal with her? How did you tell her she should be treated by God? How did you treat her mother in her face? Because if you're treating her properly and you're treating her mother properly, chances are she's not going to let a guy deal with her any kind of way, because that's not what she's used to, if that makes sense. That does not work any differently when you're running a business, when you're leading people. How you let the people that you, how you deal with the people that you lead, it instills a certain mindset into them. So treat them like assets. You got people that work for you and you got a personal training company. Don't treat those guys that work at your personal training company as personal trainers like they beneath you because you own the company. Because guess what? Them training people all day is what pays your bills. The person on my team that sells one membership a month, guess what? I still shoot them a text, because guess what? If they selling one membership a month, I'm probably making somewhere between $40 and $110 every time they sell one. So if you sell a membership $110, $40 to $110 a month, let me rephrase that. I appreciate that. Now, for the people who make a ton of money on this webinar that's saying $40 is a drop in the bucket, you can call it whatever you want to call it. When I didn't work for it, I'm going to appreciate it. So if I look and see that you order a membership, I'm going to send you a text and say, hey, look, congrats on that membership. Because if you do that once a month and it's $40, then guess what? It's $480 for the year. That pays for something. I got stuff I pay for that's $500 a year to pay for. You pay for that by writing that membership for your own reasons. If it's $110 that I make, then I'm making over $1,000. We talking about $1,100 over the year that I made without doing anything. So for those that need that, that need that comparison, again, there's people right now raising sand about a $1,200 check from the government that they didn't get yet. So if a person on your team, a person that works for you, a person that works for your company, if they're making $1,100 a year for your company, appreciate that. Now, if you're paying them a certain wage, then of course they need to be making more for you than that, because you're paying them more, but you guys follow the comparison, right? So make sure you treat them that way. So adding value to the team, right? So find out the people's strengths, weaknesses, passion, and important purpose. So you see that these are some of the same things that I talked about when I said in the workplace. Because see, guys, it doesn't change where you're at. It doesn't change. Where you're at doesn't change how you add value. It doesn't change how you add value. So when you're adding value to your team, what are you doing? You're finding out the people on your team's strengths, their weaknesses, their passion, and their purpose. You're memorizing their why. You're memorizing their priorities and their future goals, because you're going to need to talk about those things as you build with that person. So when if I'm working with Rosalind, and Rosalind calls me and says, look, I'm having a difficult time. I ain't sold a membership this month. I don't know what I want to do. It's like I'm making all these phone calls. I'm talking to all these people. I'm going to all these meetings. And I'm not making no money. Like, I need to back off this for a second. And I say, well, Rosalind, I understand you're frustrated, but just understand everybody goes through that. It doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. You're going to have those kind of circumstances come up. So just kind of always go back to your why. You told me when I met with you originally that the reason why you were doing this was because your son wanted to go to a specific school, and you were putting money up for that. You explained that to me. You told me that one of your priorities was that your husband has a disability and he still works, because even though he has a disability, he wants to bring some income in, because he don't want you working by yourself. And you said you wanted to be able to make it so that he could really just retire because he's got a disability. You said that was one of your priorities. Now, look, I know that that's still one of your priorities, but you do understand that if you just give up on this thing, you're not really going to meet those goals. And see, I'm able to bring those things back up emotionally for Rosalind because I found them out and I memorized them, because I need to be able to add value to my team. And sometimes that adding that value is me being able to remind them why they got started, because right now they're going through a frustrated point and they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about the fact that they're frustrated. So that's why that's important. So whether it be the priorities for their family, whatever it may be, see what I say after that? Then do what's in the best interest of said goals and priorities and their why. Taking continued educational courses and specific training courses on leadership topics, valuing your team, leading an organization. Why are you doing that? Because you add value to your team when you do continued education, because you're doing what now? You're adding that value to them. As a leader, you have to be real time. You cannot say, I used to read a book a month, but I've been doing this I've been a personal trainer, man, for 20 years. I don't do none of that no more. I don't have to do that no more. I've been a realtor for 15 years. Like I don't take all that stuff no more. I don't do all that stuff. I take my continuing education because I have to. That's required for me to keep my real estate license. But outside of that, I don't go to any seminars. I don't travel and take 3 and 4 day workshops so that I could be a better. You're not able to add value to your team because what starts to become archaic. It's no longer good for anybody. And what happens is the people that you're leading start to know more than you because they're going to workshops. And yeah, you went to workshops, but things change. Information changes, especially in the technology era. As a realtor, as a personal fitness trainer, as a network marketer, as a 9-to-5er, if you're not taking social media workshops, you're doing yourself a disservice. You should be taking LinkedIn training, Facebook training. You should be taking Instagram training. You should be taking training on how to operate on those platforms so that you can get the most value out of them, especially if you're self-employed or you're a business owner. You have to. Because those platforms change so much, and if you're not up to date real time, then you're not getting the most value out those services, which means you're not adding value to your team. And last but not least, you've got to become a servant leader, like I talked about earlier. You must become a servant leader. When you have a team, you're there to serve them. If you're serving them correctly, they're producing correctly, you don't have to worry about money. People don't mind putting in work, overtime, working on the weekend, getting on your team calls at 10 o'clock at night when they know you serve. But when everybody feels like they serve you, they say, man, it's like 36 of us and we all like serving this guy. But when they can say, this guy, this woman, this young lady is serving 36 people, I can't believe that she's taking all of our calls. Like, that's crazy. Like, she's making time for all of us. That's what you want the conversation to be. In order to add value to your team, you've got to be a servant leader. Yes or yes? Throw it in the chat box. All right, where we at? 10:04. Good, we on time. So what are we going to be talking about next week? Next week, we're moving into a different space, and that space is going to be now doing some introductions into business, talking about being self-employed versus being a business owner, talking about a business mindset, and talking about a business structure. Because there's a lot of us out here that call ourselves owning a business, and you don't really own a business. You don't physically, technically own a business. You're doing business with your social security number, which is a bad move. You have no business structure to protect yourself if something happens. So we're going to talk about all those things and why they're important as a business owner. So it doesn't matter whether you're a network marketer. It doesn't matter whether you're a fitness trainer. It doesn't matter whether you're a realtor. It doesn't matter. Any of those things, you need to have a company. I've been in network marketing for going on 10 years, and I have a company that I joined my network marketing company with. So Legal Shield pays me to an EIN number. They don't pay me to my social security number. Not because somebody might sue me, but because you don't operate a business under your social security number. That's not the way it's meant to work. So we're going to talk about all those different things so that you can start looking at forming a business structure and all those different things. I'm not going to give you no legal help. You got to call an attorney for that. I'm not going to do that for you, but I will talk to you about some things that you need to be aware of as it comes. So when it comes to business structure, you can call an attorney, or you can call an accountant or something like that, and they can help you with some of those things. But we're going to discuss this and more, and we're going to have a couple of different a couple of different installments on that topic there as well. So just finished off adding value to your team. Just finished off the what is your value series that we were doing here. I'm gonna open the call up here in a second, the Zoom up in a second, or just real quickly, just running through this again so you guys know. Remember, if you need the notifications, text Mindset to 904-932-0622. Also, remember to get plugged in. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, let's get connected on LinkedIn. And then those testimonials, if you guys want to give me a testimonial, I really appreciate that. All you need to do is send email a testimonial to me to robert@trainingbydunbar.com, robert@trainingbydunbar.com, and send a picture as well. And make sure it's an appropriate picture. And I will get that put up on my website as I rotate those testimonials. If you don't have a picture, that's fine. I can still put your testimonial up without a picture, but I would prefer you be sending me a picture. It don't have to be a professional headshot. It just needs to be a picture a decent picture that you don't mind being on a website, obviously. So I want to thank you guys for assisting with that, who's helped. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop